Did you have a PC when you were growing up?
Uh, yeah, I had a really shitty one.
Yeah, me too. I had one of these, like, I guess at the time my parents got it, it would have been pretty high end or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you had to run every game through, like, a DOS, like, command line.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, one of the games we had was Leisure Suit Larry and Land of the Lounge Lizards. And I
Nice.
remember to run it, I had to put the drive slash and then the like name of the game and then like .exe or whatever like
Mm-hmm.
that equivalent was back then, just to like boot it up.
Yeah.
So like we didn't have a good computer for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
However, I had a friend that had a decent computer, and like I don't really talk to him that much anymore. Like we've been kind of out of touch for years now. But
Mm-hmm.
at the time we hung out a lot, like played a lot of I guess it would have been Super Nintendo around that time. But his older brother, I remember, had this disc called Warcraft,
Mm.
Orcs and Humans. And I remember playing it at his house. And it just like I was always so mad because I couldn't go home and like play it, so I was stuck like sharing a computer, like just jumping in and out of like the same chair basically every mission or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that was super infuriating to me, but
Mm.
whatever. That was my first experience with Warcraft. That would have probably been 95, 96. And
Mm.
then like Tides of Darkness and all that stuff started coming out, and then I just kind of followed it ever since. But like, what about you? What was your introduction?
My introduction to Warcraft was a friend bringing over the disc for, I think it was the expansion pack for Warcraft 2. It
Yeah,
was
okay.
actually the first time I played it. And I was super into StarCraft at the time. So like Warcraft, like it was a weird thing. Like he came over, brought it, and I got so kind of absorbed into it that I didn't notice when my friends left, and then I was
Wow.
kind of bummed out that
Wow.
they'd left without telling me.
That's kind of weird that they would just walk out.
Yeah, I
Wow.
wasn't. I wasn't. And they just left the game there. Had it for fucking years after he never got it back. It was a fucking weird thing that happened.
Hmm.
It was a weird thing. But I got really into Warcraft when Warcraft 3 came out.
Sure.
Like I got super into that game.
Yeah. What the hell was it called again? Chaos Reigns or whatever?
Reign of
Reign of
Chaos.
Chaos, yeah.
And then Frozen Throne was the expansion.
Right, right. And like, arguably that's when they started actually caring about stories. Really?
Yeah.
Because like the story has always just kind of been that like these alien dudes fight humans and
And like
they have wars against
yeah,
each
it's
other.
just super it's like the first game is like just orcs versus humans. Like it doesn't even matter where the orcs came from. Like they just showed up.
Yeah.
And it's just like that generic like idea of that like fucking uh Warhammer type idea of just orcs versus humans in
It's been a long
fantasy
time.
setting.
Did they even refer to them as the Horde back then? Because I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't either. Because like
I just remember orcs versus humans.
the first game is just called Warcraft Orcs and Humans.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I can't remember if they even referred to them as the Alliance and the Horde. Because if I remember correctly, even in that game, it was before there was an alliance. It was just like the humans versus orcs, essentially.
Yeah, like
The other races were like there and like maybe got conscripted or something, but like they weren't in a full out world war.
yeah.
I don't
just
know.
The
Weird.
the horde thing kind of felt like it really became a thing in Warcraft 3 when they were really making a point of having all those other races incorporated into it.
Yeah.
Like it just like they probably used the word the orcish horde, but I feel
Oh,
like
I'm
it
sure.
wasn't like a thing the way it became.
Sure. And then like because of the PvP tendencies and stuff of their MMO World of Warcraft, that got huge and really brought like that whole idea into its own like giant universe of shit that we can talk about basically forever.
Yeah.
Um they really pushed this idea that like there were two factions. There was the Alliance and the Horde.
Mm-hmm.
That's really when that came out. Because even in Warcraft 3, like they were on opposite sides, but like not really, because there was always a greater evil.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing where like originally they didn't have to push the idea of opposite sides because it's just the evil orcs versus the good humans,
Sure.
basically.
Yeah.
Like that's how they set it up. As they went along, they started to more humanize the horde side and like put it when they started adding in stories more.
Yeah.
And then so when they had to, and then they would have them team up. So then when they wanted to make them enemies again, they had to draw those distinctions again. It's
Sure.
like a real draw those battle lines.
Now that being said, you are a Horde player.
I'm traditionally I've been a horde player.
So
My career.
I actually hate you.
It's fair.
Yeah. Because the reason I hate the Horde, by the way, and like this is just tied into the video game and like the bullshit.
Yeah.
When I started playing World of Warcraft, like we're gonna talk about the fucking movie. Just give us a second. Like when I started playing
intros.
Yeah. When I started playing World of Warcraft, my friends were the ones that got me into it. They're like, come play or whatever. So I was like, yeah, okay. The first time it didn't really take. I got to about level 10 with Warrior, and I was bored because my friends that were like, come play, never played with me. And then like another group of friends were like, yeah, you should boot it up again and like come on our side, which was Alliance. And they were on a PvP server where my other friends were on a PvE server. So I leveled up and they like hung out with me, like we talked in Ventrilo as I leveled and like I listened. I remember going to his house and smoking a shitload of weed with him one day while he was raiding Molten Core and I was like level 56 in what the hell is that place called? Anderthal, I guess, or whatever's in the Western Plaguelands. The main city there where the giant lich is that like can destroy you basically. So I remember leveling up there just, like, stoned out of my fucking mind and, like, looking over and just seeing, like, this 40-man raid going on and being like, this is what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be in a call with 39 other people. Maybe not as stoned as we are now or something. It seemed like a lot to handle. But, yeah. Yeah, I think that's when I really got sucked in. But anyways, the reason why I hate the Horde is because, growing up, leveling up on a PvP server, you were just constantly fucking harassed, like, all the time.
I mean, that's just how it goes.
And then I found out from my friend that got me on that server later that he really likes playing games as the underdog. So he chose a server where it was, 5 Horde for every 1 Alliance. Like, it was so in the Horde favor that it was gross. And I was so fucking angry. I was leveling up a paladin, and at that time, they did, like, absolutely nothing. They couldn't heal well, they couldn't tank well, and they couldn't do damage well. They could do everything okay, but not good enough to, like, either take hits or to, like, fight back. So I just got, like, picked on the whole time. So now anytime somebody says they're a Horde player, I just fucking hate them. Like, I grew up hating you people, basically.
Yeah, it's fine. Bring it on. We can take it.
That being said, I have played Horde on 3 different tunes, up until like the max level and rating on some other, like not end game rating, but like I did level up a paladin for Burning Crusade when they finally released on the Horde side, and then another one. I like paladins. I don't know why, but like they changed mechanically in that game so many times that every time I leveled one up, it was a new experience. So I was okay with it.
Every class has changed so many times at this point.
But anyways,
even fucking Death Knights have changed like 3 or 4 times completely.
Yeah, for sure. But going back to the beginning, talking about orcs and humans.
Yeah.
That's where this this Warcraft movie takes place.
Yes. So, it's the story of the first game.
Story of the first game, and then some, really?
Yeah, a little bit.
So, like I was saying earlier, the first game really didn't have much of a story, honestly. They kind of retrofitted that era of the first game with a lot of lore, like, later on, when they decided to make this, like, IP a big thing.
Yeah.
So they're basically going off like the story introduced in Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft. Like it's not just like humans and orcs fighting, basically.
Yeah.
There's a lot more of those like little undertones and stuff that make reference to in those games and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the movie here. We'll talk first and foremost about just what we think and like maybe if people should go see it, if they should hold back, what type of people might like it, the good, the bad, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty and just like geek out for a while talking about like the little minutia that only people that actually care about this shit really will get into.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just saw it. I'm still trying to parse together how I feel in my head. I'm flip-flopping between 2 numbers out of 10, and we can talk about that in a second here. But overall, I enjoyed it. I had a pretty good time. There's some problems with the movie that, like, you would only notice being somebody that is so entrenched in this lore. Like, if you're the type of person that, like, played a lot of World of Warcraft, read the wiki every night for a couple nights or whatever to, like, get all the backstory and all that shit, there's gonna be some weird things in here that are like, when you see them done. But then you remember it's a movie. It's a visual thing. They have to make it interesting.
Yeah.
So, but overall, enjoyable time on my part. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. You had a few hours from now to think about it, though.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I think it's okay.
It is okay.
It's not great. It's not bad. It's okay. It's okay. It's a movie. It's like it was an enjoyable time at the movies.
Sure.
It wasn't anything special, but it's like similar to this story is still at its core pretty humans versus orcs. It's still pretty generic fantasy. It's kind of like the equivalent of buying like a paperback novel, fantasy novel.
Yeah.
You just fucking fly through it because it's enjoyable. It's disposable, but it's it was a good time at the movies. And I was in a theater where I was like lying down the whole time. So I was
I got the comfy seat theaters too. It was pretty good, actually. It was pretty good. The way I was thinking about it, like, as I was watching it, actually, was, I was thinking about, like, it finally clicked in my head at, like, some ridiculous part that we can talk about later when we talk about, like, specific things or whatever. But upon seeing it, I'm like, this is kind of engaging, this is fun, and stupid as fuck. And then I was like, oh, this is this generation's version of, like, the Dark Crystal or Labyrinth. It's, like, just a silly, goofy, high fantasy time with, like, worse writing, basically, because it's writing from a video game, honestly. But
yeah. The quieter moments are real bad.
They're so bad.
They're real bad.
But luckily, there's enough pacing where there's not many of them.
Yeah. And the movie,
which is also a problem I have. We'll get into in a sec.
Yeah. Effects look cool. I also don't think the movie never hits those like high hype points that like Blizzard CG cutscenes always do, which is kind of disappointing to me. It never really hits that high mark either. Yeah. But
it's weird too, because like the Blizzard cutscenes are by all rights cornier. Because it's like very high fantasy, corny, like bullshit for a video game. But it's so earnest in the way they do them that it just feels right. And I think they try to capture a little bit of that in this movie as well, but it felt a little awkward at times because it's human beings playing these things.
Yeah. Like the big one for me is like with all the stuff there's a lot of stuff with orcs in this movie.
Yeah.
But there's no scene that's like as good as the opening cutscene for Warlords of Draenor, like that last expansion, that opening cinematic that involves the Horde drinking, taking in Fel energy for the first time, but like there's nothing that hits that level of hype for me that cutscene does, and it looks pretty similar. Like the levels of effects on display are not.
No, you're different. Right, but it's hard to, honestly, it's hard to hit The
It's
like,
very hard because that scene has like so many other things tied in, and
yeah,
stuff it's referencing.
yeah,
Like that's also digging deep into like fan stuff. So
yeah,
it's also like that they're adapting this story of the first game, which is the parts of this story I'm like the least attached to.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing that, like, if we just wanted to boil this all down to, like, the basic, like, thing about this movie, is
Hmm.
that this movie is set up for, like, the giant stories that are to come if they keep making these, which I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they probably are going
I
to.
mean, China fucking loves this movie.
Yeah, and good on them. They're gonna keep it going for the rest of the world, so I'm
Yeah.
happy about that. But like, I was actually saying to Aaron on the way home from the theater that
Hmm.
like they're about 1 or 2 movies away from the stuff that like is going to really get me. Like
Yeah.
that is super engrossing.
Yeah.
But
Like I remember I was talking with someone and he didn't realize they were adapting Warcraft 1 and not Warcraft 3 and it's like, "Oh, wait. Now I don't
oh,
care."
that's kind of disappointing. Well, like if you were hyped because you thought it was Warcraft 3, I could see
Yeah,
being super let down.
I know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff in Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff. But in
That's
this
that's
it's
where
just
like all the good actual lore comes from is Warcraft
yeah.
3. So, boy, there's going to be some big shit they can do. But okay. So, let's talk about
I'll
one of
also
the
say I did see this movie with someone who's like played Warcraft 2 like once or something
Okay.
and has no connection to Warcraft and he enjoyed it. Just as someone
Yeah.
who enjoys generic fantasy,
Sure.
like he had a good time.
Okay. The problems I have, we'll just
Yeah.
quickly run down like without talking specifics.
Hmm.
As somebody who is really into this background, this environment and lore and all that stuff,
Yeah.
I found that I would have. It's kind of the opposite thing of The Hobbit, where I feel they could have made this stuff in here 3 movies because there's so much shit for setup in this universe that's ridiculous.
It's definitely similar to The Hobbit in that they're adapting a story that retroactively putting in a lot of stuff that was added in later.
Yeah,
The way The Hobbit took in all this stuff that was from the Silmarillion
yeah.
that was like tying into Lord of the Rings later, stuff that wasn't actually in The Hobbit.
The
Like it's
problem-
similar in that way.
The
that it's
problem with
cramming
The
stuff.
Hobbit, though, is that like they give
sucks.
they give too much time to a story that like can be summed up in less movies, really.
Yeah.
And I feel this is the opposite, where they give too little time for like 100 years worth of conflict,
Hmm.
basically. And
Yeah.
like they have to gloss over some of the more intricate things and just kind of make them more visually engaging giant spectacles.
There are also like moments I feel like they could have done as big spectacles that you
And
just
they
sort
don't.
of get through exposition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you get to the starting point feels like it's starting a little late
It's
with
super
the
late.
orcs. Like
Yeah.
they skipped a lot and I'm like and you get like a little bit of exposition. Like why couldn't you show some of that? Cuz that stuff would have been cool.
Yeah. Like this might be a tiny spoiler, but like show why the orcs, which were a peaceful race, are like bloodthirsty maniacs now. You
Yeah.
know, something pretty important for their character development.
Yeah, again, if you're just looking at adapting the first game, by the start of the first game, they're fucking bloodthirsty monsters, but there's so much.
There's
but you're
so
not
much.
doing that. There's so much more.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
at some point, you're like, what is the cutoff for what you're putting into this movie? But
And for people that aren't entrenched in that lore and stuff, it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. Because
Yeah.
like what they do show is stuff that is super important in like
Mhm.
the development of this story and whatnot, and they do a good job of it visually, and like it's
Yeah.
engaging in all the right ways for a long time until it isn't for a few parts.
yeah.
But
I mean, the other thing I'll say for it over The Hobbit is I just think this is like the ways this movie looks stand out from that, which I thought the Hobbit movies looked shitty, basically. Like their visuals
Yeah.
weren't great, particularly like I thought they were much shittier than Lord of the Rings even. But this is like just generic, like orcs are fucking green, like the the Alliance, like the human soldiers have fucking shields with giant lion heads on them. Like, it's super generic and like stylish
Yeah.
in the way those games are.
Yep.
And that's super like just refreshing in terms of watching a big budget movie of just them going like, we're just doing the cartoon stuff. Like, we're making a big budget movie with actors, but like the visuals are fucking what you want them to be. It's like the whole benefit of Blizzard having control over this movie rather than like some regular studio taking a license and making a thing.
For sure. I agree. Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's one of the things is that if you're like one of the fanboys, like expect a lot of really great stuff to be completely skipped over in like in service of the audience that this was actually made for, which necessarily isn't necessarily us. It is the wide public audience.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind if you're going to go see this, that there's a lot of shit they're going to kind of gloss over and you're going to be kind of like, what the fuck, dude? That part's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And like some of it might be a throwaway line even.
Yeah.
But
and it's a bummer that a lot of that stuff is cut for like emotional moments that are bad and don't work at all.
Yeah, that's another problem I have is that they do kind of try to do a movie thing where they're like throwing in stuff that shouldn't be in there maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Without talking too specifically, but like there's some weird undertones there that's like this doesn't play right in my head for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's a movie at the end of the day. They're trying to, it's one of those things where they're trying to reach everybody, and in doing so, I think they're doing a decent enough job, but they push back a little against the people that are really entrenched in it. Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess keep that in mind. But like overall,
yeah,
if you're going for the visual spectacle, that's why I do have to say that this is one you should watch in a theater with the bag of popcorn, the drink, the 3D glasses, the whole fucking shebang there. Because when you see, like, especially if you play the games, when you see, like, Ironforge for the first time, you're just like, holy fuck, this is gonna be great. Like, it's
like, yeah, these are the cities in the game. These are the cities. They look like the cities.
Yeah.
Like, they look like the thing you want them to look like.
They look like a real version
yeah.
of that shitty little thing you spent 1,000 hours in. It's fucking nuts. It's actually crazy how, like, I don't know, the cinematography is amazing. It looks exactly how it should. Like, when we're talking about the shots and, like, the pans and all that stuff, I think the orcs look a little silly in some spots. Specifically because with Durotan, the main orc character, the movie follows for a while, I noticed that I could see the actor's, like, actual lips through his giant lips every now and then.
Weird.
So once I noticed it once, I couldn't stop noticing it for, like, the long pauses and stuff. And that got super weird for me. Like, and I was saying that on the way home, that I think the only reason I really noticed it with him specifically is because he's the only one that really has a lot of talking parts with, like, a slow shot of his face and shit like that. So, you know, it's probably not going to bug you, but try not to notice. Don't get stuck in my web.
The parts like that I noticed is just the orc thing, where sometimes it'll just look like a person talking with fucking sticks sticking out of their mouths.
Yeah,
like like they're ridiculous tusks. Like sometimes just look like they stuck shit in their mouth.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's totally true. Like they look pretty silly a lot of the times, but not all the time.
Yeah.
They look really good in a lot of spots. Like specifically when they're fighting, I really, really like how, like, when there's battle scenes or whatever, like skirmishes or fights, the orcs move the way, like, they should, like a creature of their stature would, where they're very, like, not slow, but, like, you can see like an attack coming and that it's gonna fucking hurt, and like anytime they hit something, you could like feel it.
Yeah, the orcs are fucking big and scary
Yeah,
and badass. Like they're particular, like also in crowd scenes of just like
yeah.
groups. You're just walking through groups of orcs. Like they're just visually distinct
Visually,
from
it
each
plays
other
very
too.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I like that, like when the humans are fighting them, like the dumb ones that die, like just try to take them head on, but like the smarter ones realize that they're agile, so they can like move around them quicker and stuff. Like
Mhm.
it's pretty dope. Like it's a
Yeah.
nice balance of like a giant brute just like smashing stuff and a guy like kind of dodging his attacks and then like stabbing him in the side.
Mhm.
Like they play very well together, being complete opposite ends of that.
Yeah.
So visually, it makes for actually really great time anytime they're fighting each other.
Yeah. And I would like specifically compare it to like the fucking Urukai from Lord of the Rings, who are
Yeah.
all fucking black and like not distinct from each other at all.
Yeah.
Like these guys stand out.
Yeah. Especially since this is during a time period for like the lore nerd second, where some of them aren't like infused with fel energy yet, so some are green and some are just standard like
Yeah.
normal orc color. So they like, even a crowd of orcs, they all look different and they all have different armor and like different spikes or whatever. Like they did very well visually, like to boil this all down into one thing.
Yeah.
Visually, this is a pretty stunning movie.
Yeah.
What's not so stunning is some of the lines and how they're delivered.
I think some of the joke lines are pretty good.
The joke,
They're really
Yeah.
dumb,
yeah,
but they're funny. They made me laugh. But like the dramatic, like sad or serious stuff,
they're
it's
so
like,
bad.
oof,
Yeah,
oof,
yeah.
it's not good.
That's important too for people that like this series. And I think just for anybody in general, is that I was afraid that they would take this movie too seriously, and
Yeah.
I feel like with the writing, they didn't. Like, they know it's a stupid, big fantasy thing where, like, these giant green dudes are attacking dudes in, like, shoulder pads. Like, they know what they have, so they're gonna have a little bit fun with it and just, like, play around with special effects. And
Yeah,
this is exactly the type of movie I would assume Blizzard would make. Something that's very flashy with very little actual, like, dialogue substance there. But, like, the stuff that's there is just, like, jokey and fun.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
you realize, like, a lot of their best cinematic stuff is all like voiceover. Like,
Yeah.
they're good at having someone deliver a speech while overplaying something else that's kind of related.
Yeah.
They're yeah, they're good at bombast.
I'm so glad that they took the mic away from Chris Metzen for every orc, though. I would have drove me crazy if he just played every orc like he does in the game.
No one says Zug Zug though, so
Yeah,
zero stars.
I was looking for like those little callbacks and stuff, and there weren't any, which is really
No.
too bad.
I wanted a Zug Zug, man. Just
Yeah.
one Zug Zug.
Yeah, it would have been pretty good. I don't really know what else to say without talking about specifics, so should we just rate this out of 10 and then we can get into the spoilery stuff for people that either don't care or, like, care a lot and already saw the movie?
Yeah, there's kind of not a lot to say critically, just because it's, it is what it is. It's big, it's dumb,
Yeah.
but it's pretty good.
Let's compare it to some other movies that have been recently, namely the Marvel movies. How do you... because I feel this is very much in that same vein of, like, a popcorn muncher movie. You go to just have a good time, not, like, turn your brain off. You're not looking for The Godfather here.
Yeah.
You're just kind of, like, looking for a good time. And I think for me, it's super biased because of, like, my background and nostalgia and all that stuff. This ranks higher than any Marvel movie I've seen. Probably. Maybe since X-Men 1.
I don't rate it that high,
No.
but I'm much deeper invested in a lot of that comic book stuff.
I mean, your name is Comic Panels on Twitter.
Yeah,
So
that stuff holds much deeper heart for the comic book movies that I really like.
See, my problem is that they haven't made a really great Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man was my jam. Like
That's totally true.
Yeah. Like, they've made... I will even say, like, I don't like Superman, and they've made Superman movies I could watch. Fine. Like, multiple times. They're dumb, and, like, they show the strengths and dumb weaknesses of Superman. And Batman. Actually, there's some good Batman.
There are good Batman movies.
Yeah.
But I'll say this about the Spider-Man movies. My big complaint about them is the speechifying and the emotional stuff.
Yeah.
Is real bad.
Which is the same with this movie.
Which is the same with this movie.
Yeah.
It's like the complaints are a lot similar.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I can't really defend those Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, but I like 2 and 3. Okay. And I like William Dafoe in 1, but overall that movie's bad. But
what about
for William Dafoe?
What about for like this year so far? We've had like Deadpool, we've had X-Men, we've had Captain America, Civil War.
Deadpool is better.
Deadpool is a better movie. I didn't have as much fun with Deadpool as I did watching this.
I like Deadpool more than this.
Okay.
I also like Civil War more than this, mostly just because Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's really good in Civil War. He's really good. Yeah.
Like, that's just, like, there are high moments in that movie for me that put it over, where this didn't hit the high moments. This is better than X-Men Apocalypse. For sure.
Well, that's not saying much, but sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I had an okay time in X-Men Apocalypse. Like, that movie's not good, but I had an okay time in it.
Right.
But this is a better movie.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the thing that's also kind of still out. So.
Yeah. Give it a quick number out of 10.
For me, it's a 6.
Yeah, I'm stuck between 6 and 7 because if we take 5 as a baseline, it was average.
Yeah.
This is a bit better than average.
Yeah.
But it's not fantastic. I just can't tell if it's good or great for me. So it's probably more like a 6.5 leaning towards a 6 when I really think about it.
Yeah.
Because while I had a really great time watching it and like would definitely watch it again soon if like the means were there or whatever, there's some stuff in it that bothered me. There's some problems in it. There's a lot of pacing problems I had.
Yeah, there's real bad dramatical stuff, and the characters in Warcraft that I really love aren't in this story.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
Like, it doesn't really hit the super strong fan service notes that, like, the Marvel movies hit, just because those Marvel movies have characters that I'm much more associated with. This is just the world, and there's backstory that I care about, but it's not. We're not yet at the characters, and this didn't do well enough with these characters to make me care about them, particularly within the context of this story.
Also, I think some of the casting was off.
Some of the casting was off. Some of the minor casting was real fucking terrible. But,
well, yeah. But, yeah.
It's minor characters. Some of the fucking Lothar son.
So, do you think you can recommend this at, like, the $10 to $20, depending where somebody lives, like, night out at the movies per ticket?
Yeah, if you want to have a fun, if you know what you're getting into, dumb fantasy.
Yeah.
It's a fun time. Good time. You want to see a movie. If you want to go see a movie right now that's a big movie, see this one.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I would agree, obviously.
I mean, I haven't seen that Ninja Turtles movie.
No, me neither.
But I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, for sure.
And the Ninja Turtles. Now that's something that's dear to my heart.
Yeah.
But those movies, no. Sorry.
I kind of like the first Michael Bay one a little bit. Some spots, anyway. There's a lot wrong with it, though. That's a whole, like, other 5-hour conversation. I didn't even see
that movie.
I did randomly, and I was like, okay, once you get over how dumb they look and how kind of stupid a lot of this shit is, at the end of the day, it's Ninja Turtles, and I was into a lot of that. But whatever.
I should probably watch it, just see.
It's really bad. It's really fucking
bad.
That's
I fucking hate
a bad Ninja Turtles movie is better than a movie without Ninja Turtles in it.
point. The other reason why I just don't want to see those is there's been some fucking great stuff the Ninja Turtles have been in recently, so it didn't need Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
It didn't need bad Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, you're right.
But back to Warcraft.
So yeah, for like, I would say for the standard movie-going audience, it's a fun, like, high fantasy flick sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's an okay movie to take like your 12 or 13-year-old to.
Oh yeah.
Any younger, you're getting into some weird territory where they might start playing, snapping each other's necks and stuff, which is weird. So you might not want to get them while they're too impressionable. But
Whatever.
Yeah. There's no like real big blood moments or anything like that, but there is some like stuff there that's it could be like heads being crushed. Like, I don't know. There's just weird shit in there without blood. It's Warcraft. There's war. There's people dying. Like,
It's a big budget war movie. Come on.
Yeah.
Like a fantasy war.
I'm just saying, like, maybe don't take, like, your 6-year-old to it or something. And if I'm in the theater, really, don't take your 6-year-old kid because I'm going to be pissed.
Look, don't take your 6-year-old to The Conjuring 2 that's coming. Don't do that.
You're right.
That was when I saw The Conjuring. There's a fucking baby in the fucking audience.
That's
not happy.
But see,
not pleased.
In a way, I'm kind of okay with you taking a baby because they're not going to retain any of this shit anyway.
It was a small child. It was a small child who was like wanted to run out of the theater. Who was physically trying to leave.
Okay.
Because
that's just bad parenting.
That was a movie about a mom who wanted to kill her children. Don't take your children to that unless you know.
That's bad parenting.
Yep.
Yeah. For people that are into this world and stuff, I think I highly recommend just seeing it. Like, you know you want to. Just fucking do it. I'm the guy who never goes to movies in theaters, and I watched it like the first day I could without like missing a day of work and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like, just fucking do it. Trust me, you'll be okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. I think this is the part where maybe I'll like, when I'm trying to render this or upload it or whatever, I'll put like a horn sound. But this is like where if you care about spoilers for this old ass game, this old story and stuff like that, where like this is where we're gonna talk more. If you just don't want to hear about like specific little things that were neat or dumb, like this is where the small talk's gonna happen for like every little part that was worth mentioning. The magic of editing. I hope I remember to put music. All right. I don't know really where to begin. I think it's weird that there's no backstory for the quote-unquote warlords of Draenor.
Yeah.
Because they are all super fucking interesting in their origin story. Like, and they are kind of throwaway characters, except Durotan. But even Durotan has, like, one of the best origin stories.
How is, like, Hellscream, like, not in this movie?
How is Hellscream not in this fucking movie?
Like,
I thought for a second he might have been the one in the cage or something, like, with Garona. But, like, no, that was just a disposable orc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't... What?
Yeah.
What? You need him for the second war. Where is he?
Why do they not explain Durotan's wolf
that was such a...
have it in there for a second, and don't, like, explain the whole backstory of it was, like, his beloved pet that he killed while berserking, which is why he's always, like, more cool about things and level-headed. As a reminder.
It's such a good character moment.
It's the best character moment.
That's
where he throws away his like neat bloodlust as an orc to become like a rational leader because of this time where he killed his beloved pet. Like, it's really good stuff that was missed out on.
I guess they didn't build him up for that like payoff to quite be there. Like, he was kind of too rational from the start.
I agree.
But I don't agree with that choice either.
No, it's a bad choice. It's a...
Like, you undermine his whole arc.
Yeah. He has a huge
the way
arc. Yeah.
The way they handled Duratan, I was not super pleased with.
No, he actually just seemed like a traitor. Like,
Yeah.
there was, the movie doesn't show you any of his backstory, any of, like, what's going on. It just shows you that he's, like, a pussy, basically. Like, he had a kid, and now he just doesn't want to fight anymore or something.
Yeah.
When there's so much more layers of, like, why he's that way that it's ridiculous.
Like, they didn't do enough establishing the Horde taking in Fel energy in the first place. Like,
Where's
that has
Vanaroth?
already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is where we should go back to where you were talking about the intro for Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah.
Where, like, the thing that was big about that is what they should have shown in this as, like, the origin. First of all, they should have shown Sargeras, because a giant demon lord titan that is corrupting everything.
Badass.
Like, they should have showed something with that, even if it was just, like, a second where, like, it just showed his shadow or something. Like, anything. They didn't even mention his fucking name.
No.
They really, really needed to show them taking this drink.
Mm-hmm. They needed that.
Of Pit Lord blood from Manaroth.
Yes.
They needed that. Because that is why Fel energy, like, exists, and they are tainted by it.
Yep.
And
that's, like, a choice that they make to become
to become more powerful.
Yeah, to become, like, it explains their whole backstory. Yeah. Like,
it's so
how did they
weird.
cut all that? God.
Especially because, like, the way they made it seem is that Gul'dan is forcing power on them.
Yeah.
Or, like, just doling it out or whatever. But he was just kind of, like, suckered in too, just earlier than they were.
Well, like, and he can control them, but only because of what happened. Like, he's only in that position because of how they've allowed themselves to be subjected before. He's not.
Yeah.
Which makes more sense of his moment near the end where he's, like, where he's fighting and can't, like, hold his own. Because he shouldn't be in that position. He got there by trickery, basically, anyway.
How dumb is it that he is just, like, a superimposing, like, brawler?
I mean,
I know why they do it.
It's okay, because he wouldn't win that way.
Yeah.
But
it's dumb.
It was dumb.
It's super, super fucking dumb.
Where he tries to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it's super fucking dumb. I thought the way they okay, going back to some stuff that I thought was cool. I thought the way they did Black Hand was pretty fucking dope. He gets his hand shot off by a boomstick. I
really liked how they fucking showed, like, at the beginning of the movie, is like, oh, this guy just invented the gun.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that little touch of, like upgrading trees in a fucking strategy game of, like, oh, we got this upgrade. Yeah. And then by the end of the movie, all our fucking dudes have this, because that's how fucking RTS games work. You get the upgrade, and then everyone has it.
Did you notice that, like, when the queen was giving Verona the sheets and whatever, and it showed the gun behind Lothar's back, it's an actual rifle. It's no longer just a pistol. Yeah, like, it's great because in the background you just know that the dwarves have been, like, supplying their army with actual weaponry now.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty good. I wish we had seen more from the elves.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of cool that when they were having the big meeting or whatever, there was, like, people from the Kirin Tor and the elves and stuff all there, and they were visually distinct enough that, like, being into that shit, you could recognize, like, where they're from in that world and stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah. They did a good job on it.
And it's also like this is the humans' war. Like, the other races are there, but they're not.
Right.
They're, like, supplying in the background, but they're not the forefront.
Right.
That's all appropriate, but again, the dwarves supplying all the armaments and stuff is a super cool little backstory thing.
Yeah.
So that I liked, and, like, I would have liked, like, a little bit more with that, but whatever. There's so many other things I want in this movie.
Yeah. I really wanted to see them drink Pit Lord blood.
I know.
It's like super important. It's actually the thing. It is the catalyst for everything.
The thing, man.
Yeah. You could even just start the movie there.
Yes.
Like, the way the movie starts is something like, as long as we, like, remember whatever, there's been conflict, blah, blah, blah. Like, something super generic for movie-going masses, which is fine. The way you actually start that movie is like we used to be slaves or whatever then, and then like cut to the scene where they're drinking the blood for ultimate power, like, and then being like fooled in the end. Like that's how you do that. It's a quick, like maybe 10-minute scene, and it is actually how that starts, and not just we've been in conflict for a long time.
Yeah, because you fucking show that shit, and that's like immediate emotional investment.
Yeah.
Rather than
they got fucked. They're not just assholes. They actually got fucked. As it looks right now, and I mean this is true because fuck the Horde, but the Horde actually just look like orcs for one thing that are crazy and just invading for no reason. Like they are crazy and kind of invading for no reason, but like there actually is a reason, and they don't show it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those little nitpicks.
Doesn't get across the idea of them, the fact that they're kind of enslaved until kind of the end with Gul'dan pushing people around. Yeah. Oh man, but that little scene where Gul'dan is like drinking on that dude.
Yeah.
He's like sucking in the energy, and then he does it again.
Yeah.
And then he does it again. I'm like, what? Oh, there are a lot of little touches like that of like just funny little moments that I do like a lot.
Like when they cast spells that you recognize.
Yeah, the fucking polymorph.
The polymorph was good.
It's like, it only works on weak minds.
Yeah. And I like that the sheep just kept buying. It was good. That was a good scene.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, fuck, man. Anyways, we should talk about the locations a little bit.
Yeah.
One of the first locations, actually, I think the very first scene they show looks like somewhere in the Barrens or something. Like, it looks like it was more modern day because it starts off with like this whole speech of like, we've been in conflict for a long time or whatever, and it showed random orc fighting random human. And there was like the watchtowers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's like the classic one orc versus one human thing to do. Yeah.
So like, that was like just maybe that was even on like Draenor. Honestly, it's just like an orc area though. But like, it was kind of cool. The first shot you see in the background, you do see like the towers and stuff, the watchtowers and shit. Like, it was cool to see that. And then it cuts to like Ironforge. And I was like, oh shit, playing a dwarf paladin, I spend a lot of time in that fucking city. So
yeah, like the whole like beginning setup for the plot is like location porn of like them just going from one city to another
and
just
then to Stormwind.
Yeah.
And the city themes like play with like this little tinge of like being like this is a dire situation mixed in. So, like, instead of the Stormwind sound when they show Stormwind being, like, loud and triumphant, it's, like, triumphant, but, like, with some misery behind it. It's pretty good. Like, the sound design, as always, is on point, for sure, when it comes to the music in it. What else was there? Karazhan was dope as fuck. And I'm so mad that it looks so shitty in the game. Karazhan is not that nice. It is a fucking shithole. For obvious reasons, but like, dude, it looked so cool. It was a fucking shithole in the game. Like, you start off in the stables when you raid that place in the game, and then like the first thing they show you is like his library, and it's just all these floating bookshelves and stuff, and you're like, I remember this being a bitch. I remember mana wraiths everywhere. And those golems everywhere, just like, it was fucking irritating going through there. There's staircases. Holy shit, was it irritating.
Well, it's like, yeah, I'm building a golem.
Yeah. You know, made shit.
Made shit.
Yeah.
Building a golem.
Yeah. I found that part really weird because I don't like seeing young Medivh, like, working on something with his shirt off like he's a fucking contractor.
Yeah.
That was weird to me.
I do just think of Medivh as like the
old sorcerer.
And like just like the Greek fucking doomsayer. It's like the guy who just shows up in like fucking Oedipus and goes, "You're fucked."
Yeah. Every time he like teleported though, that was just visually appealing. Like creating the like little circle or the like orb around him and stuff. Everybody just blinking away.
Yeah.
So fucking good. Every time a spell was cast, it's just like, this is really fucking cool looking.
Yeah, and they did a good job of making spells feel like powerful and like
Gandalf never felt powerful, like in Lord of the Rings, and I know he's not supposed to, really.
He felt powerful, but it never felt like he was casting a spell. Like the parts where he was powerful was like he fought the Balrog with a fucking sword.
Yeah, no, like he was like, cool.
He scared the Wraith Lords with his fucking like a lamp, like with a bright light. He never like casted like a magic spell in the way you want it.
And actually, not to make this about D&D and Lord of the Rings, I read a Reddit thread where people distinguish what he is, and he's actually like a high intelligence fighter or something like that, because like. He can just like cast the basic fighter spells or something. I can't remember. Maybe it was Bard or something. There was a debate. This is the geekiest thing ever. Oh, I read on Reddit a bunch of people debating
and fights the Balrog,
what class Gandalf is.
Look, man, he pulls out his sword and fights the fucking Balrog. Like that's the most impressive thing he does.
That's all you need to know, honestly. I'm just saying. It's the nerdiest thing. I was on the internet on Reddit reading about what D&D DMs were debating, like what class Gandalf was. Like, fuck me. Anyways, that was a dope thread, and that's why I love the internet, when people get together and like try to source dumb shit like that. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But yeah, anytime a spell was cast, it felt like a big moment. And I was both irritated because of like experience in the video game, and a little nod to it as well, like the fact that casting time existed in the movie. Essentially, where like the first time Medivh like basically does his arcane blast to like destroy all the fel-ridden dudes, he's just like taking like 5 minutes to charge up.
Yeah.
As like, oh, it's so infuriating. Like, just fucking do it already. And then he does, and everything dies, and you're like, yep, that's a mage, all right. It takes forever, but once they do it, it works.
You're all fucked.
Yeah. I'm just a little sad he never conjured a table or drink for them.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious. He just shows up and, like, puts a bunch of runes on the ground and a table forms. Unlimited bread.
So many little WoW jokes you could do.
You could do so many of them, but they would play so poorly for an audience. I understand why they're not in there.
Yeah. It's also like your only mages you're getting are fucking super high end mages. You're getting fucking Medivh and Khadgar.
Yeah. Khadgar is... Okay. I thought Khadgar's casting was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Because Khadgar is like a fucking badass, and that kid is not at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of okay because it's of where he is.
Yeah.
He's not fucking Khadgar yet, kind of. But.
Well, it's kind of weird also, like, going through the story thing, where he isn't actually Medivh's apprentice, and then, like, kills him when he finds out about what's going on.
Yeah, like, the whole thing where they keep like, you're not the new Guardian yet, for, like, no, like, why would he be? He was just a dude who ran away from the Karator. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, no, exactly. There's no reason why he would be.
Yeah. That fucking bothered me. They just kept referring to, like, you're not the Guardian yet. It's like, what? Why was he going to become the Guardian?
You're not the Guardian yet. Yeah, no, that... I don't know. I think that's another... Like, this is all the problem I have with the pacing, is that in the interest of time, they couldn't get into these really character-developing moments that, like, become later important about who that character is. Like, they couldn't just... If they had more than one movie, they could. But, like, they didn't have the moment where, like, Khadgar is, like, doing a montage learning from Medivh, like, how to become a badass. And then finding out his master is actually betraying everybody and then has to fucking put a sword through his gut. Like, they don't have that moment. Instead, he's just kind of like, oh yeah, he's like fucking everybody over. We should go stop him now because there's no, like, I don't care about him at all.
Well, it's like also the first time we meet Kagdar, he's just like, oh no, I'm not with the Kirinor. I ran away from them.
Oh, I'm a bumbling mage. I got captured somehow in a prison. like
the way he shows up is so weird.
Yeah.
Where like he's investigating this for no explained reason.
Yeah. Another character I had problems with, kind of, or like how they did her, is Garona. Garona, in the lore, in the games and stuff like that, is a badass.
Yeah.
In this, she takes orders from everybody. Like, that's all she does, is she is told by every single other being in it what to do, and she does it.
Yep.
That is really, really disappointing.
Yeah, it's super lame.
Yeah.
She gets like the fucking movie female character, fucking not knowing what to fucking do with her treatment.
Yeah, no,
it always sucks.
They fucked her over. Like, it was really, she was poorly written. She was super poorly written.
Yes. All fucking her scenes with Lothar, fucking cringe.
Fucking terrible. I wasn't too keen on the Lothar casting either, but he does fine. It's okay.
He got okay crazy by the end.
He did actually, like, when shit was going down, he had that like psychotic teary face, very well done. So I was like, okay, I believe you now. At the start I was just kind of like fuck you.
Yeah, once he had like some fucking scars on his face and was like just fucking out of his mind, kind of like staring straight forward, like he kind of knows too much about how fucked they are.
Yeah,
but it got okay. But yeah, at first I wasn't sure about him.
Yeah, it's hard to talk too much about the orc casting because they're barely recognizable as humans anymore.
That's true.
So I'm assuming they did a good job. Because I didn't have much problem with them at all. The biggest problem I had with them, actually, is what we were talking about earlier, where they weren't given enough time to develop as characters.
Yeah.
So, that's a script and, like, director problem, in my opinion, but whatever. Should we talk about the director for a second? Duncan Jones?
Just one thing I'd say about the casting.
Yeah.
Is the dude who played fucking Duratan.
Yeah.
Played, I just wanted to say he played fucking Doctor Doom in that awful recent Fantastic Four movie.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's hard to judge any actor in that movie, but...
Yeah.
Because that script was so bad.
Yeah, you judge him based on doing Doctor Doom. So, like, fuck that guy? Is that what you're gonna do?
I didn't know until afterwards, even.
Oh, like when you looked it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a thing in my brain.
I guess he's just used to having his like face covered.
Yeah, just to be fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
So Duncan Jones.
Yeah.
The reason why he got this gig, basically, if I remember them saying, is that like he basically just wanted to do it. And he was like, because he's a fan of the game and heard that like they went through the grapevine that they wanted to do a movie, and he's like, I'll do it. Like, I want to do this. Actually, this is a thing I should say for all of them, is that a lot of the cast were cast basically because like they had a little bit of experience in something before, but more importantly, they just loved the game. So I think that's just a cool thing when the people working on the product just like want to be as like corny and cheesy in this stupid fucking thing because like they loved it too. It makes me care about them a little bit more because like I don't fucking care about Ben Foster. He's been in so few things I care about as like roles I don't care about at all. But the fact that he's like stoked to be in Warcraft, I was like, yeah, Ben Foster, yeah. You be a bad Medivh, but whatever, you cast spells, so you're fine. Like, that's all Medivh does anyway. He turns into a raven, he says, like, heed my words a lot, and, like, fucking cast a spell or two. That's all you have to do. So
and then he gets possessed. Yay!
Yeah, that's a bit weird too. How this whole like fell energy thing. I know it's again for visual medium and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like the people that are they're not really supposed to be possessed so much as like they're supposed to like have their minds corrupted, not
Yeah.
just like possessed by demons or whatever. It's like the whisperings of like Sargeras and the Legion and stuff like that in your
Yeah.
mind makes you go crazy and think that it's a good idea in the end.
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily just turn you into a demon, but whatever. I understand why they did it. It's fine. Like that
Yeah.
whole scene with Medivh, like opening the portal from his side there and all that sort of stuff. Like that scene in actuality happened already. The portal was opened and he was killed later by like a sword to the chest.
Yeah.
Inconsequentially while he's talking with Lothar. Like
Yeah. It also like doesn't make sense that he needs to be opening the portal on this side again when
no.
Gul'dan is already fucking here. Like
Right.
he should be irrelevant now that Gul'dan can do what he wants. Like,
Yep.
it's just fucking
But
weird.
again, for pacing, for visual like
Yeah.
complexity, they wanted to have a fight where there was some mage shit going on and the golem
Mm-hmm.
doing shit.
And
Fine.
just to like try and bring the they kind of did a good job of trying to bring the story threads together at the same point.
Yeah.
It then kind of falls apart at the end where they just start like knocking them out in order rather than
Sure.
continuing to have pull them together, but
Yeah.
what are you going to do? That's what happened.
Yep. Duncan Jones did Moon.
Yeah. I fucking love that movie.
Moon is real good. It's really well thought out, well acted.
Yeah.
That's a good movie. Source Code is. Let's just say I'm surprised that isn't a video game, because that movie feels like a video game. Did you ever see it?
I never saw Source Code actually.
Okay. You know, it's one of those movies that's like, it's a fun time, but it's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say Duncan Jones worked on writing the story for Moon and did not work on writing Source Code.
Okay.
But
That
he did
makes
work
more
on
sense.
writing for Warcraft. But like I'm sure like 50 people worked on writing for Warcraft. So
Yeah.
how many people are fucking credited as writers on this movie? Like
For Warcraft?
like 3. I think got official credits.
Only 3? That's not that bad.
Only 2 on actually on screenplay. Chris Metzen got story and characters.
Fucking Chris Metzen. God damn it. I could have sworn he was an extra in this movie too. Where the fuck did I see him? I'm looking for his name right now. I could have sworn he was one of the dudes either like saving the humans at the end, pushing, saying like give it all you got boys or something like that. Or like earlier in the movie as one of the random human guards. I could have sworn, but I might be wrong. It's happened once or twice in my life before.
Is the writer fucking worked on the screenplay for Blood Diamond? Weird.
Oh, he's not listed on here. Weird.
Charles Leavitt.
There's a lot of people that worked on visual effects and digital design. Go figure.
Go figure. A lot of people worked on doing the effects of this movie. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, this movie doesn't really feel like it was directed by Duncan Jones. It feels like it was made by Blizzard's special effects team.
It kind of was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
so. And they do a
like-
good job. They
Yeah.
really do. I just kind of want them to not do this again, but continue on with these with their, like, own department. Yeah. Like, don't get actors involved, just get the voice actors and get, like, a shitload of support for your digital effects artists. Just, like, fucking Final Fantasy that shit. Throw out a movie every year for, like, a different thing that happens in this universe. I'm so in. Every
man.
month, new
Fucking-
movie, I'm in. Just take my credit. You have my credit card information. Just charge
fucking
me every time it
Warcraft
comes out.
story movies of just like diving deep into fucking some corner of the universe.
Holy fuck. I don't even want to play the video game anymore. Like, just charge me $15 a month for that.
I will say, like, that's a reason I'm I want Rogue One to do good, just
Yeah,
to get companies to like look at that as a thing of doing side
yeah,
story movies.
yeah. I'm
Because
with you.
like the part of like this thing of cinematic universes that I is like it's getting boring is like the having to go bigger every time. But like if you could really just dive deep into smaller stories just in that setting where you have everything established already,
Yeah,
like that seems cool as shit to me.
this is kind of weird. I got a question on Twitter. I think we could answer.
What?
Not about like the podcast or anything. He just asked me specifically. He asked, have to ask, would I enjoy it only liking Warcraft 1 to 3 and not WoW? Fucking yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because all of the shit in here is Warcraft 1 and parts of 3 that, like, it makes reference to that is coming, basically.
Yeah.
I kind of like that they don't mention Thrall's name because, like, that's not really his name, sort of thing. Like, they don't throw that out there. I like that, like, they show, Varian as a kid.
Yeah.
Because I remember playing WoW and, like, I remember he was, like, the 13-year-old, like, boy king for
Uh-huh.
Stormwind, and I think that's so dumb, but awesome at the same time, because, like, I knew what happened to his dad.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, that's real cool. Yeah, Rin looks great as, like, the lion.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck do they call him again? The Lion of Stormwind or something like that? He had like a title before he was king that they called him or whatever. It was something like that. He was like, yeah, he was pretty badass. I don't think their shoulder pads were big enough.
Yeah, their shoulder pads probably should have been bigger.
They should have been a little bit bigger, I think. But yeah,
The orcs were real fucking big though.
if you like Warcraft 1 to 3, this is made specifically for you. This is not the World of Warcraft movie, because World of Warcraft happens like so long after this movie.
I mean, this movie doesn't even get into time travel. How can it be related to WoW?
Right, exactly. Don't. They took some missteps, all right, with the game.
They
took
are.
some missteps.
Look,
But you know what?
They opened that time travel bottle real fucking hard.
They go dumb in a way I'm totally okay with.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about stuff we like, parts we liked a lot. I really liked when that orc threw that horse at the dude.
Yeah, we picked up the horse. That was good.
Yeah. Anytime they hit somebody, felt meaty. Like the sound design and just like the visual like representation and stuff, it felt like it probably fucking hurt, if not just killing you outright.
Yeah.
The Doom Hammer, holy fucking Christ. It only gets swung like 4 times maybe throughout the whole movie, but every hit is just like
boom.
Like, oh my god, I can't wait until Thrall is in this.
No. I like this when at the meeting between BlackRock, when the orcs start coming out of the fucking dirt.
Yeah.
Like, you just see their face. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
They're just fucking orcs just popping out all over the place.
It's really, really fucking good. Like I said previously, I like how they, like, made the excuse for Blackhand having his weird hook thing. Having his hand blown off by dwarven technology.
Yeah, like he's never seen a gun before.
Yeah.
He fucking grabs it.
It's so fucking good. I thought that was brilliant.
That was real good. That was real smart.
What else? I thought Gul'dan, the way he moved and was just kind of like this piece of shit that like could manipulate people until he became a brawler, but like we're not talking about that part. Yeah. Every time he was on screen, his like weird little like crippled warlock movements and stuff, he felt perfect. Like he looked absolutely perfect. And it goes back to what you were saying a long time ago about how every time Spider-Man is in a panel or on screen in like a good movie or TV show or something, he's always the one like upside down where everybody else is doing heroic poses, or like on the side of a wall waving or something.
Yeah.
Gul'dan is just visually interesting to see these giant big orcs and then this dude kind of limping around with like green glowing around him. Like
Yeah,
he's different.
And like he's the one that stands out and kind of above all of them, even though he's all crouched over and weird.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just again, dude, that fucking scene where he's like just like sucking out that life energy of that one dude.
Yep.
Just like snacking on him.
I thought the small like showing of the Draenei stuck in the cages at the beginning was creepy and great.
Yeah.
Like it was just kind of disturbing in a weird way.
Yeah.
Looking all like gaunt and like shitty.
It still kind of made me wish like there had been more establishment for who they were.
Yeah.
Like it's tied into that not showing enough of what got us to the point where this movie starts. But yeah, I did like the stuff with the Draenei. Oh, like when he sucks out all their cages too to open the gate.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Oh.
I really liked in the duel parts. I really liked the reactions from the orcs that were watching.
Yeah.
Just like that was just cool. Like there were a lot of little details. Like when fucking Lothar walks away and all the orcs are fucking like saluting him basically.
Yeah. Well, because like in their tradition, he is the strongest that came out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he just killed their war chief. Like,
yeah,
he's the man.
Yeah,
you fucking respect him. Like, I like those kind of details.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I that's the thing I always liked about the orcs. They're fucking mindless, fucking war creatures, but they have fucking honor.
See,
honor matters.
Like, this is what I actually have always hated about the Horde is that like they were always just like these weird hippy dippy fucking dudes until they were told to kill a bunch of people. They've always been slaves their whole life to themselves and to other people.
Yeah.
And like, fuck slaves.
Fuck slaves. Okay.
That's why
tactic.
When we but not fuck slaves. That's a different thing. That's not appropriate.
A whole other thing.
Yeah. That's why, like, when, like, doing the Horde stuff and whatever, I always liked playing Tauren. Because they were just, like, cows hanging out with the land. They weren't really slaves to anybody until, like, they were. Yeah, I don't know. There's weird shit going on there. The Forsaken, or, like, the Undead, are all slaves to Sylvanas, who's essentially a slave to the Lich. Like, it's a thing. Everybody's a slave. Except for the humans. And the dwarves. The gnomes were kind of.
Elves were slaves.
Elves were slaves to their own stupidity.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about elves here. They were also part of the Horde, the ones that were slaves.
That's true.
Anyways, this is getting way too personal. You can refer to me by Master now, from now on. I'll accept that. Yeah.
That's like, nope.
Alright. I understand, because I know there's, like, going to be people that probably are getting pissed off by me making fun of you. I understand that, like, the thing people like about the Horde are, like, the idea of, like, the slaves breaking away, like, from their chains and stuff and kind of uprising. Like, I get why they're big.
Like, a big thing about
I just hate everybody that likes the Horde.
A big reason I like the Horde is, like, originally was the...
character design?
Yeah, the character designs, the way that all the races were visually distinct from each other as long as they were male.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's a thing.
That's a problem. That's a video game problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
But, yeah. I mean, I've always... This is the thing with the Alliance for me. One, I've always liked dwarves in stuff, in high fantasy stuff. Alliance had dwarves. 2, I always play a paladin. Horde did not have paladins for years.
It's true.
So it was never a question in my mind. Never a doubt in my mind who I would play. But that has nothing to do... Actually, this is a thing. I kind of wish there was paladins in this movie. I know it doesn't really make sense, really. Because, like, I don't think the paladins even came, like, into play in these wars and stuff until later. They were just kind of knights.
Yeah.
Like, until, like, the First Order... When was the First Order Paladins made in that universe? Wasn't it created by Uther? Or, like, trained by Uther? there was like a few priests that were fighters that like created that whole like quote unquote class, if we're talking video game terminology. I don't know if there were holy warriors in the first game.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I thought it was cool, that one part where Khadgar is like taking in the fell energy and then he's like, no, and then there's like, it turns into like the light energy, and I was just like, that's what a paladin's magic is gonna look like right there. Like there's glimpses of it here and there, and it's fucking dope every time it's there.
Yeah.
Like 3 times in that movie, it's there, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool that magic is like rare and fucking powerful as shit in this movie, but also like
I wanted more of it.
Want more.
Yeah. I wanted more. I'm like Gul'dan. Unlimited power. Only not really.
Yeah.
Trying to think of other things. It's really hard to like think. The thing is, the parts that aren't Warcraft in this movie that try to be a movie are fucking terrible.
Like all the stuff with Lothar's kid, his son.
The stuff with Lothar's kid is dumb. The stupid romance that they tried to like, the sexual tension between Garona and Lothar is terrible and awkward at best.
Your son just died and you're crying and drunk. Let's make out.
That's fucking weird. That was a weird.
It was not. Shit. That was inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like make out for the first time. Like.
Anytime
hadn't really been established. If they wanted to make out, really, even.
Anytime they were just talking about tactics was dumb. Like, I understand that would happen in that situation, and it was kind of cool to hear them say, like, Red Ridge Mountains and, like, the Deadwind Pass and stuff like that, because those are places I quested in, dog.
Yeah.
But in reality, it was just a bunch of white dudes around a table, and like I didn't care about their drama and politics that they tried to put in there. It was only cool when like Khadgar was there for a second.
Yeah. To be fair, that's an accurate depiction of how wars are run, but
that's what I didn't want.
Yeah. What I didn't like,
I like
though,
Warcraft. I don't like war.
That they're like, we have 3 legions left, and like they used to have like 18 more or something, and we didn't really get to see any of that.
We didn't see any of it.
Like we don't get a good sense about how long the war is going and how bad the humans have been losing.
There's a few spots. There is one scene specifically where it's a pan over like the mass of what is known as the Eastern Kingdoms in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like Stromgard or whatever in like old terms or whatever, that area where like it's doing a pan and it shows all the places that like the Horde have set up encampments, and then like them destroying the cities like down the river basically from them and shit. But that's it. That is all you get. It's not even a montage. It is like a 5-minute scene at best, maybe 3. Yeah.
And like, and you get the sense that like, oh yeah, the orcs will be winning this, but based on like the brief moments of battle you do see where the orcs fucking trash human soldiers like super easily.
Yeah.
As far as like regular human soldiers go before they get guns. But yeah. There's not like the when they say those numbers, I'm like, what? 18? You're down to 3? Wait, what?
Yeah.
It's real bad.
Yeah. And they showed everything else that was interesting like they made everything else visually interesting. That's interesting to me. Show like why this is a dire situation.
Yeah, there's a little too much that's just told to us and not shown.
Like the part they do show a few parts of like to make us get an idea of why this is bad. Like when they're opening the portal and you see the Horde on Draenor waiting, and it's just like as far as the eye can see, just orcs like ready to run in. That's great.
Yeah.
More of that. Like give me more cues that like this is fucked if they don't do this.
We get like, I like that one scene like early on in like the tavern when fucking Cagdar meets the king for the first time. Like
Yeah.
the interior of that building looked like the interior of a building in WoW. Like just
Yeah,
the way it was set up, like it
for
looked
sure.
accurate. But I wanted more like details of just like fucking buildings around the villages and stuff,
Yeah.
showing that stuff, and then showing it get wrecked because that's what the Horde was doing. They mostly just showed the Horde has wrecked this stuff, not them wrecking it.
Yeah. It's kind of weird that they didn't show the Siege of Stormwind.
Yeah, that's like not in there at all.
Is that later?
I think that is like directly after this movie. Because the thing is in the a big change is, the king is just assassinated.
Yep.
Not killed on the battlefield.
Yeah.
That's a big change.
That's a huge fucking change.
That's a huge fucking change.
Like, yo, you wouldn't know it from watching this movie. Grona is a badass fucking rogue.
Yeah.
But you would never know.
You would never know.
Because she is a slave to all the men that tell her how to act.
Like,
And
even her biggest act is a dude telling her, yo, you should probably kill me.
It's really bad.
It's real bad.
You know,
like,
I'm not on this, like, whole feminism train necessarily. Like, I do want diversity, blah, 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 all that stuff. But, like, it's real fucking bad.
this is the kind of shit that, like,
It
makes
pisses
me
me
on that
off.
train is, like,
Yeah.
guys, I want good characters. You fucking... This is terrible. Like, this is
Yeah.
bad character writing. What are you doing?
Especially when they took a good character.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
hmm
So, no props. Major down. Boo.
Boo.
For Garona. They fucked her, man. It was bad.
Like, at every turn,
It was bad.
everything she does is some dude tells her, you
Yep.
should go do this. Like, she gets fucking told to go make out with Lothar. Like, by Medivh, who's evil.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's really too bad. It's really, really, really too bad. I wanted to see gnomes.
We didn't get any gnomes.
That's a disappointment.
I mean, I wanted to see goblins, because actually, goblins...
Time is
favorite
money,
race.
friend.
Goblins are actually my favorite race.
Yeah.
That was my big disappointment in Warcraft 3, was the
Yeah.
goblins aren't part of the Horde in that game. They are mercenaries only.
Yeah.
Which I also kind of appreciate. Like, that's a goblin thing of just going, no, we just care about money.
Yep.
Fuck everyone.
I honestly thought it was kind of a sellout when they became part of the Horde, because for me, it was always like, well, goblins are like just the neutral, like, if you do stuff for them, they will like you more.
Yeah, I kind of would have. I actually kind of would have preferred if they had made goblins a neutral race, like they did with pandas eventually.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
But
Whatever. That.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a faction of goblins that got incorporated
Yeah.
because of circumstance.
I thought the
So much
Griffins were cool.
The Griffins are cool. It's kind of like, why aren't you using these more? They're so useful.
Because, yo,
It's
when you're
kinda like
level
the Eagles.
5,
It's kind of like the Eagles in.
when you're level 5, you can't afford that 10 copper, dude. You need that to buy your bronze mail.
Right. These guys aren't. Those soldiers weren't fucking high enough level to get their flying mounts. They haven't gotten their flying mount training yet.
Okay, let's talk in terms of video game right now, right?
Yeah.
What level do you think Lothar is?
Lothar?
Let's talk about a maximum of like level 100 because Gul'dan is like a raid boss,
Uh huh.
and he can't. I don't think he can take on Gul'dan, to be honest
No.
with you.
No, but he fucking kills fucking. I can't real fucking easily. That dumb sword swipe to his dick. At the
It was
fucking end.
it was so dirty, but
It
like
was so dirty, but like
that.
yeah.
That's what makes me proud to be part of the Alliance.
Through his legs.
I'm gonna say he's level. See, it's hard because you're right. He does take care of him super easily.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that's a one-off though. He was overbuffed, maybe. Maybe he was like power leveled or something. He shouldn't be able to have done that, but for some reason he
I
did.
mean, he did just help beat Medivh. He could have gotten levels.
You're right. He could have went from like level 50 to level like 90 by doing that. Probably Medivh is probably too big.
He did not instantly die to Medivh grabbing him.
You're right.
But he like lost. I liked how he kept like losing armor to get out of situations. So like by the end of the movie, he doesn't even have shoes. He's walking around barefoot.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Some die-hard shit going on there.
It's dumb.
I'm gonna say he's probably... You know what? He's probably endgame NPC. He's probably level 100 elite. Somewhere in there. Gul'dan is probably raid boss, so he would be like 110 elite or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gul'dan is a piece of shit in this movie.
It's great.
I don't like that when he's a brawler, though. He becomes just less interesting.
Yeah, it's uncool.
But you're right. The perfect scene is of him basically sipping a dude's soul like it was a fucking orange juice.
It's so good. He's like sitting in such like in like this weird position too.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, it's so good.
It's really good. That is the perfect like Gul'dan moment there.
Yeah.
I really
he doesn't have
wish...
the thing that he doesn't get is like a lot of times Gul'dan is like he's like the leader, but he always seems fucking terrified. And he never seems terrified in this movie because there are no demons around to be his boss, and he's like the big dude.
Yeah.
But when there are demons around, Gul'dan is a fucking cowardly piece of shit.
Yeah. Yo, demons are scary though. Like
That's
straight
true.
up.
That's true.
That's why metamorphosis was a great warlock trait until they nerfed it.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a dumb thing that they could do. That was stupid. Anyways, they needed to give more of the warlords, I'm just going to call them for people that are in the know or whatever. They needed to give them more than just like a cameo appearance of just hanging out.
Yeah.
They didn't even talk. Some of them.
Those dudes are badass.
Yeah.
I highly Scream is the one that kills me though.
I highly suggest anybody that like is still listening and interested in this sort of stuff to go look up the like minis things that Blizzard did when Warlords of Draenor was coming out to do like an origin story of who these guys are. Mm-hmm. And you'll be way more disappointed when you realize that like this is all stuff they should have shown. Like the whole first movie actually should have just been this. Pit Lord. No, it's just Sargeras and like the whole background stuff. Not for long, just like a little nod to it. Mm-hmm. Blood of Manaroth, Pit Lord shit. Then the origin of who these orcs are, the kind of downfall of their society, and then hearing about like this new world they can invade, basically. Mm-hmm. Like it should have focused. And then on the other side, you could do like the humans kind of like starting to get along with the high elves and the dwarves and stuff like that. Like it would all be political talk, but it might be a good offset from like the weird shit that's going on the other side to just see some normalcy on the other side.
Yeah, that actually gets at the like, core of a structural thing.
Yeah,
for me is like one of the reasons these stories work in the games is you're just following a particular character like through their story in the games, and you get the whole thing, and then it goes to this other character and you get their whole thing.
Yeah,
and this is like trying to cram all that stuff together when like if it could have had the room to like tell the whole story about a character, you probably could have been more invested in that character's arc, because a lot of Blizzard storytelling is like there are all these machinations going around and there's all this political stuff, but you're invested because they're put all their work in making you care about this one character or couple characters that you're playing as throughout the campaign.
Right.
So like even in situations where that stuff is less interesting, you still care about the character. But if you're super into the machinations, it's even more interesting.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And it just doesn't have any of that.
Yeah.
Because really, you want like the orc movie before the fucking first gate happens.
Yeah.
And then maybe like the
because we're humans,
fighting the orcs.
We've seen like high fantasy human societies and like how that's built. We've seen medieval movies that like are realistic depictions of that stuff. We know how humans operate, think, and like all that sort of stuff. So you don't have to spend a whole lot of time on them. You need to know why the orcs are in this position that they're in, where they're kind of like desperate to like find another world to invade, and like why they're actually like a tragedy and not just like bloodthirsty monsters that they're made out to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that plays. This is where we get into this whole like, they made this movie for a wide audience, not for us necessarily. I don't know if that plays to an audience, if they have the patience to see that stuff.
Yeah, I don't think... Yeah.
I don't think they do. I think what they release is perfect for, like, the popcorn movie of the summer for an audience to enjoy for a bit.
Yep.
And if that's enough to get them to make the Lich King stuff, I'm in. You need the Holy fuck. Imagine, like, visually seeing the Lich King rise the Scourge from, like, a battlefield. How fucking amazing that would be. There's just, like, all these soldiers, and, like, they just, like, start, like, shambling up together and, like, marching or something.
I mean, the problem is, like, there are, like, 3 movies at least you'd have to make just for, like, Warcraft 3. Like, those stories don't really overlap super well.
I think there's only 2, because the way they kind of cut a lot of things from here, they're probably going to do it for the next one if they make one. They're going to speed up time, as it were. They have a lot of stories they can tell. A lot of stories.
But even, like there's, like, not a lot of crossover between telling Thrall's story and telling Arthas' story. Like, they happen at the same time.
Yeah.
But they're separate. And how do you make a movie around that?
Yeah. I just want to see the fall of the Highborn.
Oh, there's so much cool fucking
shit.
There's
so much shit. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, why they become blood elves. Like, there's... Yeah. The Well of Eternity. There's so much shit. It's ridiculous. It's scary. Like, how the fuck do they know where to go from here? There's an obvious clear path where there's the Siege of Stormwind, and then the actual forming of the Alliance, and like the Horde being like rounded up and stuff like that, and like them forming the Horde from other species they meet on Azeroth and stuff like that.
There's the Second War, then the Orcs getting put in internment camps.
Yeah, like there's the movie right there.
Yeah,
that movie. And that's that's super important. That is actually super important shit. However, it's not inherently interesting to me.
Yeah. That's the problem. Like, Warcraft, you have to get Warcraft 2 also has to happen, and that's still not to the shit that's super good.
Yeah. And then after that, there's actually too much good shit.
Yeah.
So...
Because you have the fucking undead and the Horde coming together. And they're like...
Oh man, fucking Sylvanas. She's one of my favorites. Like, I fucking love Sylvanas. She's...
But you have to establish the undead, and then you can get to the Forsaken.
Not even that. You have to also establish the Highborn.
Yeah, you're right. You have to establish... She has to get killed by Arthas.
You have to establish Arthas.
Yeah.
Like, holy fuck. We're so far off from Sylvanas. We're so far off. Before we like go on rambling too much, let's do some closing thoughts.
All right.
So, again, like, highly recommended to people that are into this series and stuff like that. Just keep kind of an open mind. I was actually super nervous that I was gonna hate it. I don't know why. I just had this thing stuck in the back of my head where I have an expectation. It wasn't a high one, but like I have a expectation. It's probably not gonna meet it. I'm gonna hate it, and like I'm gonna be the guy that like will stand up for every video game movie adaptation, including I liked some House of the 1,000 Corpses or whatever. Not 1,000 Corpses, House of the Dead. That one. The Uwe Boll one, because of one weird part in it. So, like, I'm the guy that will stand up for really, really bad movies like that.
Yeah.
And, like, as a Warcraft fan, I'm going to hate this. Like, that was my fear. Where it's just like, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be the fucking dumbass hypocrite on the internet who will stick up for every other shitty movie, but, like, won't like this thing that's fun. But no, I thought it was good. I think people should see it. I want more people to see it multiple times so they do make more movies, because trust me, if you didn't like this, there's some good stories coming. It's just, holy fuck, they're far. There's a lot of shit they have to get through, but just trust me. Like, if you don't know, trust me. Good shit is there.
I mean, I would say Duratan's story could have been really good.
It was the biggest letdown.
They fucked it up.
They fucked him up.
They fucked him up. They fucked up
Gamora.
Garona. They fucked up Garona real fucking bad. Real fucking bad.
Yeah, they did.
Railroaded her.
I don't think they even gave enough, like, they didn't show how powerful Medivh really was, because, like, the one time he cast the big thing, he fucking, like, fainted.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard, because,
it's hard.
Like, the big thing he does is he fucking opens the gate, but you don't want to show that, because that's a spoiler for that he's evil.
Right.
But that would be so cool to see.
Medivh, like, yeah. I mean, he is the quintessential mage. He is the strongest one. Yeah. So it's hard to show that and, like, give other people, like Khadgar, who is also somehow the strongest later, like, their credence without, like, downplaying them too much. I think they did a good job with the balance between them, where, like, Khadgar felt like he was bumbling, kind of, but he never felt weak. Like, when he did shit, it was like, he did shit.
Like, when he used his magic, like, oh, fuck, he's strong.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, for sure. But, yeah. I found it weird that this is another nitpick before we close here. I found it weird Dalaran was already a floating city, because it wasn't ever for a long time until shit happened.
Isn't that Warcraft 3 that happens?
Yeah.
That it takes off?
It's super late.
Archer mode? Yeah, because that's a cutscene in 3.
I think it's World of Warcraft days that it does. Because for the longest time in Vanilla WoW, there was a dome over where Dalaran was supposed to be, and you couldn't enter it.
It might have just been that Archer mode is going to step on Dalaran in a cutscene in 3. Maybe that's it. I definitely know
that's such a dumb thing.
Archer mode in Dalaran is a cutscene in 3. It might be that he was going to step on it.
Yeah, so what they, like, in World of Warcraft, they had a dome over it, and, like, I know it was because they didn't have the assets or, like, people to make this giant city of mages, so they just made it a purple dome that you couldn't get into ever. But, like, it was right by South Shore. So it was there, and wow. Regardless, this early, Dalaran was the city of mages. That's all fine. The Kirin Tor were a thing, probably, because they retconned it. But it was not floating in the sky. That's what bugs me.
Right, that's what it is. Dalaran actually gets destroyed by Arch mode, and then they rebuild it later. He fucking turns it to sand.
Warcraft is so dumb. Warcraft is so dumb.
Like he makes a sand version of it rise up in front of him.
Yeah.
And then he destroys that sand version of it, and then the real Dalaran is just destroyed. That's the cutscene.
Yeah, of course. That's so fucking stupid. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of shit with him that they could... Holy fuck. Anyways, in closing, I really enjoyed my time tonight. This is maybe a movie I would go see again, like if if some friends wanted to see it or whatever and I wasn't busy. I'd probably go see it again. I don't have high hopes for anything. Like I said, when I kind of wasn't really loving my time until it got to... Like, I was enjoying it, but it didn't click with me until it actually got to Dalaran with the Kirin Tor and stuff, where it was very, like, weird looking, and like they were weird looking and had glowy eyes and like were kind of expressionless, and like it just looked like a weird sci-fi thing or whatever. It clicked with me that this like feels like what the Dark Crystal must have been for kids of that era. That's this movie for kids of this era. And if you think about it like that, like, it's exactly that. It's a silly little high fantasy thing with an epic storyline. The only difference is that it leaves it open at the end because there's like 1,000 things it could do.
Yeah.
So. But
like it's fantasy and it's fun enough, and it's okay. It's good. I had a good time. There's definitely plenty of stuff I wish were better, and a lot of stuff I wish were in it.
Yep.
Like, I really just don't care about any of the characters. But for a movie I don't care about the characters, it was really good.
Yeah. It's too bad, too, because those characters are actually kind of badass in their own right, but they didn't show why.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you have seen the movie and you listen to all of this and stuff like that, write in. You can do so on our... I guess the easiest way is probably Twitter. Yeah. I'm Exposure on Twitter, obviously, and it's spelt the way it sounds. Or, like, if you're watching this, you probably see it on screen or something. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
And Hank here is Comic Panels.
Yep.
So, yeah, tell us what you thought. If you like this stuff, you're going to like this movie. Like, if when you heard they were making a Warcraft movie, your heart jumped a little and you were like, yeah, okay. Then they've made that movie that you were hoping. It's dumb in the right ways and some of the bad ways. It's just visually interesting. It's a Blizzard product. Like, holy fuck, is it Blizzard?
The first time I saw a trailer for this movie was a video someone had taken off their phone at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And you just hear, when it comes on, you hear someone in the background say, hey, this is a fucking cartoon! They're showing the orcs.
Yep.
I was like, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's fucking Warcraft. Come on. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's it, though.
Yep.
So, thank you for listening. Let us know what you thought. Let us know, specifically, let me know if you're part of the Alliance. But let us know what side you're on. And why you're wrong if you're Horde. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
It's a weird way to close.